beautiful, perfect landscape for this, because looking out here, I feel like I call this like the settler gray, like the pilgrim gray of New England. You always see, I always think about this, you always see pictures of like the settlers in this very landscape. You never see them like in the summer, like being hot or, like fanning themselves. And so there's something that's like very New England about this like very moment in the season that I thought we could just think with as we get deeper into darkness.
Darkness is usually thought of as absence of light, but we want to explore, does it have a meaning in its own right? And as the sun migrates south, after giving us another nourishing growing season, we are, get another chance to embrace darkness. So we are happy to do that with you all. So to ground ourselves in this collective exploration of darkness, I invite you to do an activity for 5 minutes where you find a spot in the horizon and take 5 minutes to notice all the things that you notice and slowly move your gaze towards the place in front of your feet. When your gaze reaches the place in front of your feet, just notice that this land in front of us, this land underneath, is holding us under our feet. So let's take 5 minutes to do that.
In the modern world, or with, whether we are talking about the world of enlightenment or even the world of, dominant Abrahamic religions and the way that they're practiced, light has been privileged over darkness. Light is truth, light is the way, light is right. Whereas darkness is barbaric and so on and so forth, and ignorance and all of that. I mean, this is something that our gathering covered. We talked about that, and there's a lot of work and scholarship things that we can talk about that point to how this equating of darkness with ignorance and other negative features go hand in hand with anti-blackness and racism and colonialism and so on and so forth. What we have been trying to talk about in our gatherings is how darkness can actually be something nurturing. Darkness can be nourishing. And that point, when we were all collectively discussing that, I was reminded at that moment of another story. It goes like this. So you have this apprentice gardener who's learning how to garden, and he goes to his master and he says, Master, I'm having a lot of difficulty with growing my plants. I just don't know. I give so much attention, so much care, so much love to them, but they don't grow. And then the master says, that's interesting. Can you explain to me the process of how you grow your plants? Like, tell me what you do. And so this apprentice, he says, I plant the seeds and I make sure that they're nicely covered in soil. I water them and then I leave them and then I go to bed, and I'm so worried for them at night that I can't even go to sleep. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm so worried. I'm so worried. I go out to my garden again, dig up the soil and make sure that the seeds are okay, and then I cover them up again and then I come back to sleep. And I do this day after day and they just don't grow. and the master says, I think I know what's going wrong here. So this one I bring up to point to the fact that seeds that mysterious work that seeds do of growing happens in the darkness of the soil. And so much caring and nurturing and nourishing happens in that darkness. And we sometimes forget that part. That there's a lot of care work that cannot be made visible because they can only happen in darkness. And that the moment you dig up the soil and make it visible, it loses its ability to do its work. And I think that we have a way of thinking even about care that relies often on making care visible, making care, countable, making care something that we can all talk about and point to. And I think in many cases there are valid reasons to do that, and it is right. And at the same time, I think there are caring practices, there are ways of nourishing, there are things that are nurturing that must happen in darkness, that has to happen in invisibility. And darkness and invisibility is the way that it happens.
A few weeks ago, the landlubbers, we were gathered to talk about what to do for this workshop, and we went to Vermont and we went on a short walk in the dark into the middle of the forest where there was an opening, and we were like, let's just walk in the dark and walk in the dark, and we're not turning on any light. And Piyush, I don't know if this is from science or something, but kept saying that our eyes take 15 minutes to adjust to the dark. And 15 minutes passed, and we're all standing there in the middle of the forest, and what I was thinking is it's not dark. It wasn't dark. It didn't actually feel that dark out, which really made me start to think, does darkness actually exist?
But let's begin this journey. And it begins now.
In the dark, you are the sound inside.
How do you connect in the dark? The brilliant intelligence inside my body ensconced in the dark.
Alternative book.
Sometimes.
Alternative ways.
You're meant to do it together.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Alternative
Sometimes
ways
you have
of
to
seeing
the
into
darkness
connection.
to see the light.
Great.
I love that.
Did somebody say dark seeing?
May not find what I am seeking under the light.
This is the final word of wisdom. I don't believe in coincidences, so the fact that this is the last. Every night we gather at Bramble Hill to watch the darkness roll in. I think that's a great conclusion. Something
Every night.
We're talking about, I mean, we met that day to talk about darkness, and there were several stories that came to my mind, and one of the stories goes like this. This is a story from Mullah Nasruddin, and Mullah Nasruddin is sort of a popular, sort of a funny character in the Muslim world, if we want to characterize it that way. And so these are stories that you hear from your grandparents, you hear from your uncles and aunts. They're kind of, the stories that you hear from your family, etc. Okay, so this story that I think is quite relevant to our topic of darkness is a story where Mullah Nasruddin is kind of on his knees under a street lamp and is looking for something busily. And his friend is going by and looks at Mullah Nasruddin doing this thing under the street lamp, and he is just surprised, and he says, "Mullah, what's going on with you? Are you okay? Is everything fine?" And then Mullah says, "No, actually, I have lost the keys to my house, and and I'm looking for it. Will you come and help me? Come and help me." And then this friend, he says, "Sure, he's a good friend," and he goes to help Mullah. And then the two of them are on their knees and hands looking for Mullah's keys. And they go on and on for a very long time looking for these keys under the street lamp. The friend after a while says, "Oh my God, we have been looking everywhere under the street lamp, and we have actually gone beyond this. We have almost looked 30 meters more radius than the street lamp covers, and we don't find it here. Are you sure that this is where you lost your keys?" And then Mullah says, "Actually, no, I lost it a few blocks away." And the friend says, "Well then, why are you here, and why did we just do all this right now?" And then Mullah says, "Because the street lamp was here, because there was light here, so I was looking for the keys here." So I think it's in this characteristic kind of fashion of Mullah Nasruddin's stories. It's, to me, in the context of what we are doing and how we are thinking about darkness, I take that story and I think what Mullah is telling us is that sometimes what we are looking for is in the dark, and we need to go away from the light to find it. We are often looking for solutions, looking for things in places that already have a lot of recognition and light and resources and so on and so forth. But what if it's the other way around? And I think that is the question that I'm left with.